everybody. Welcome back to Fridays by the Fire. So good to be with you all tonight. I am your host, Sandy Best Life Jones, and tonight is a special night. Tonight is what I call my Fireside Chat, and I have a really great friend with me tonight. Ooh, I can't wait for this conversation. This is going to be good. Y'all might have to clutch your pearls, but we're going to have the conversation anyway. My good friend, Debrena Jackson-Gandy, best-selling author, relationships coach, is here tonight. And before I bring her out, you know I'm going to introduce her properly because that's what we do over here. Debrena Jackson-Gandy is a nationally published best-selling author, successful business owner of 20 plus years, national and international speaker, transformational success coach, relationships coach, and thought leader. She is a personal mentor to women all across the country and a creative, juicy, and joyful woman that is living her dreams. Tonight, Debrena and I will be diving into one of the chapters of her best-selling book, The Love Lies, 10 revelations that will transform your relationships and enrich your love life. Now, before I bring Debrena out, I just want to tell y'all why we're having this conversation. Now, back in the day, and this is making me laugh because it's ridiculous, but back in the day, the only advice we got from our mothers was, when you're dating, don't think about sex and you won't do it. And listen, that didn't work back then, and it doesn't work now. So we want to have a real grown woman conversation about what it looks like to use what Debrena calls her modern day courtship rules, program, way of dating to help you manage your sexual energy while you are dating. Yes, when you meet someone that you are attracted to, sexual energy can happen. It's what our bodies do. It's natural. So we're going to talk about how to manage that like a grown woman and some other things that only Debrena can talk to us about because she wrote the book about it. I have the book right here, The Love Lies. And as you can see, it is dog-eared and highlighted because I have been studying it. So without further ado, I want to introduce and bring out to you my friend, Debrena Jackson-Gandy.
Oh, I just love the applause. Last time I was on, I don't know if you had that. I just love that. Thank you. So good to be back.
Yes, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I couldn't think of anybody else that I want to have this conversation with because I know that you're going to talk to us in a way that is practical, in a way that is spirit-led, but also in a way that any grown woman should be able to receive. Even if you're not already doing what Debrena is going to talk about tonight, if it's foreign to your ears, you should be able to receive it because what she's going to say just makes sense. So that's why we are having this conversation. It is beyond time for this conversation.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree. Thank you. Let's do it.
Yes, let's dive right in because I have the first question coming off my lips is, you've said that many women have been miseducated about love. What's one of the biggest love lies that we have internalized, especially around sex and dating? And you come however you want to come.
Wow. Well, I think I'm going to swoop up to kind of the macro level because, there's so many lies and they're kind of tied neck and neck for how much they have jacked us up, confused us, undermined us, created sabotage in our relationships. But I would say the two that I see that create the most damage, one is what I call the soulmate love lie. Let me spell the word. Soul, S-O-L-E, soul, S-O-U-L, mate. The soulmate love lie. And then the second one would be that a man completes me love lie. So let's start with the soulmate. And what's interesting is when I have my live Love Academy events, and I talk about this falsehood, this lie of a soulmate, it takes women a minute to get it, because what their ears heard is, we don't have a soulmate. There's no such thing as a soulmate. That is not what I said. What I'm dispelling and debunking is the notion fed specifically to us as women along gender lines, that out of the vast world of 8 billion people on planet Earth, that there's only a single solitary human being man with whom we could possibly have a deep soul level connection. That is the lie. And behind that one lie, and in the love lies, as you know, I have 10 foundational love lies, and there's even more than the 10. But that one love lie alone is responsible for so much of our unhealthy relationship behavior. Acting desperate, tolerating things because, well, what if he's my soulmate and I mess up, I miss it, I don't get the cues? What if he's the one? And we even have nicknames, Mr. Right, the one, right? So the soulmate love lie. And the second one is, as I mentioned, a man completes me, which is actually love lie number 2. But when we look back at the creator's recapturing of the sequence, what I call the creation sequence, meaning the order in which living things were made in the earth, we know that everything God does is in order. And I know in my relationship, my marriage now of 32 years, but at the time of 15 years, was in massive breakdown because I was operating from more of the love lies than I was aware of. And our marriage was about to crash, burn. Both of us, not just me, operating from love lies. Our marriage was about to crash and burn and become a divorce statistic. God took me back to, let me remind you of the sequence of my creations in the earth. And I'm going back to Genesis and I'm looking through the sequence. Okay, creatures of the sea, and then creatures of the air, and then creatures of the land, and then man. And God said, was I finished? Was I done? No, you weren't. And then after man in the creation sequence was woman. Different creation cycle. And God said, what I need you to remember and realize, regardless of the misinformation you may have gotten in various places and spaces, including across the pulpit, that woman is my final creation in the earth, not man. If there's such thing as a completer, you are the completer, and you have not a lie that a man completes you. He said, you are the gift. Go back and check out how I presented you to my son, Adam. Went back, found those verses, and I was just blown away by how we were created from love, from Adam's DNA material, living matter, presented back to him as a gift of love. Even in the love lies, I wrote a poem called The Gift. So us thinking that we're subordinate, and I know I've been in many churches where the pastor emphasized, and you might be able to relate to this too, he emphasized, well, man was created first. Man was created first. But when you talk about a creation sequence, it's the final. We were the final. We were the culminating glory, the crowning glory of it all. So us thinking we're subordinate, secondary, less important, here just to fulfill a man's vision, versus we both have been given visions in our bosoms and in our hearts and minds. That has messed us up as well. And it's not in order with God's divine design. We've thrown some stuff in there and made some stuff up that's not even in the divine design laid out very clearly in the New Testament.
Okay. That's really interesting, because I think because that's not what we've been taught, and it's not what we've been conditioned to believe. When we go into dating, sometimes we operate from a mindset of, I'm second. I'm not as important. Because we've been taught that he was first, we came second, and then all of the submitting and all of that conversation goes towards the man. And so that's how we show up while we're dating most of the time.
Well, let me be clear that God's divine design is a beautiful balance of power. The divine design he lays out in scripture covers context and content. And there are some very specific, what I call divine assignments, because the word role and roles is not in scripture when it lays out the structure. Ephesians and Corinthians, it has no mention of the word roles. So that's a big deal in church. We hear roles of the husband, roles of the wife. That's out of order. Roles are for theater and movie production parts. And so we must understand that these divine assignments of husband and of wife are complementary, non-competing, and they work together. And one of the wife's divine functions is to submit. I didn't say submissive wife. That puts a focus on the noun of wife, and submissive becomes an adjective. It's not an adjective, it's a verb. God's divine design focuses on actions, how to interact and relate in covenant. So it's submit, not submissive wife, or you shift the focus to a noun instead of to how you interact and engage. And submit is a verb that is uniquely one of the multiple functions of wife. But if you take it out by itself, it's not in the dating space, it's in covenant. It's not for a girlfriend and a boyfriend, a fiance, for husband and wife in covenant. And because I see a lot of podcasts, what do you think about women submitting to men? Hold up, that is a privilege.
Yeah.
Clear. And it's not standing alone. There's 11 functions all working together. So you can't pull one out. Submit, headship, no. This is a beautiful, let's call it recipe. You can't pluck out one ingredient. They all work together to create this beautiful freedom model of love relationships called covenant marriage. So, yeah, we can have more conversation about that word submit, because we haven't been given definitions of what it looks like in practice and demonstration, and how it works beautifully in God's divine design. Because most, even Christian marriages, they're not experiencing, a wife doesn't know what it feels like to submit, and a husband doesn't know what it feels like when a wife submits. And that also throws off the balance of other functions that aren't happening, because when one is off, it puts a tilt on the whole relationship. So, and it's a glorious thing. God knew what God was doing when he created this design. And so many of us are not experiencing the freedom, the joy, the juiciness, the self-expression, and all the things that are intended to be byproducts of this model.
Okay. So before we get into the conversation about managing sexual energy while dating, I want to talk about Debrena's modern courtship. And what does it look like when a woman is dating in alignment with that framework? What does that look like?
Right. Well, scripture is clear about covenant and God's design for that. However, there's no mention of dating, because dating was not a phenomenon or a reality or a thing in the days that scripture was written. It was arranged marriages. So we have seen how much madness and confusion and chaos is abounding around this whole notion of dating. So when I was writing my book, The Love Lies, and I was talking about the divine functions in it, this is the book is for single and married women. So the married conversation does not take over the book. It's a part of the book. So in the section where I'm talking about the divine design, I said, I am restating what is already laid out in scripture when it comes to divine design. I'm not making anything up. I'm just simply taking, and I use New King James Version for my own study. So I was pulling straight from scripture. But when it came to dating, I knew I needed to create a way that was very different than how we'd been doing it to date. Because if we have a 51% divorce rate in America, the worst in the world out of 196 countries. And we experienced a 40% spike in divorces during and since the pandemic. Know that whatever we're doing is failing epically. And the lead up to that failure is what we call we date first, and then we're engaged, and then we're married. So I knew that we needed to relook at the whole thing, not just be clear about the covenant marriage model. And so that's why I created Debrena's Modern Courtship, so that a mutually honoring model of getting to know each other could come forth. Because how we've been doing it, sex is entering by the third date, people are ghosting each other. When people talk about love relationships, there's often the pain and hurt that's left as a memory. We don't hear people talking about the joyous, ecstatic experiences they've had. And so I said, well, how we've been doing dating has a lot to do with that. So I said, my model is truly going to be about, if that's in fact what we claim is happening during dating, is that we're getting to know him and getting acquainted. Debrena's Modern Courtship is truly going to support that. So are we bull about it, or do we really mean it? So that's the premise. Is I knew I needed to create a model because that was sane and honoring and in line with scripture. So the first thing is, if we really are about getting to know a man, all these things that we start to judge him about and scorecard him about in our minds don't fit. Because you're getting acquainted with, or you're getting to know, you come with an attitude of curiosity and fascination. There's no judgment. There's just new data. So the whole dating madness going on is, oh, well, he needs to have this, and he needs to bring this, and he needs to bring this to the table, and all of these expectations and all this judgment and all of these features, not even qualities, but features that do not ultimately come to bear in a juicy love relationship, and definitely a juicy covenant marriage if it comes to that. So that was what was the inspiration. I'm like, the madness is out of control. So the Debrena's Modern Courtship has a process to it. It has an order to it. It's not the wild west. For example, there is I've already laid it out. There's a graduated, slowly progressing pathway. Acquainted. Keep sex out of it. Right now, sex enters by the third date. I didn't say it enters on the third date. I said by the third date. And that cuts across ages. So it isn't just the 20-somethings. It's the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Ooh, child.
And it applies to non-Christians and who? Christians alike. So the energy and the power and the connection that happens during sex, entering that soon, we know we're going to have problems, because there's not a foundation to support that level of connection. You can't be connected than two bodies joining.
True.
And so I talk about, as you know, managing the sexual energy, because the current dating model says sexual energy is the centerpiece. It's the glue. If it enters really soon, hey, it's casual sex. There's no such thing as casual sex. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Anytime you can create a whole nother living soul out of joining bodies with someone.
Nothing casual about that.
If you understand the hormone oxytocin, which women secrete more of, excuse me, during intercourse, then you know that there's no such thing as casual sex, because that's the bonding hormone. So yes, my courtship model is about a slowly progressing process of getting to know each other, and start with a date in the daytime, in the daylight, more than an hour, and you build up the number of what I call energy units if you agree to have successive dates. So first date, 60 minutes of time, coffee. Something under $25 for both of you. And then if you agree and you do know after 1 hour if you want to be back in someone's company, you do. And so if you agree to get together again, and if a woman was what I call a great date, absolutely will be trying to set up the next connection with her before they leave each other's company. He will not be saying, hey, I'll give you a call. Hey, I'll be in touch. Are you kidding me? When a woman has a great date and she's present and she's listening and he loves how he feels in her company, and her follow-up questions and her questions clearly reveal that she is interested in getting to know him, that judgment is not in the picture. She is leaning in with curiosity. Her light is on. Her radiance is on point. He will let you know before he leaves your company if he wants to see you again. He is not waiting till you all part, because he knows if he is noticing all this, other men are too. So he's trying to lock up the next get together while he still has you in his presence. So
now you said, I just want to touch on something really quick. You said the first date, it's okay to be a coffee date.
Absolutely.
Why is there so much controversy about that?
Because some of these young women who don't know, who are operating on a very materialistic, what can he do for me? And a good date is all about how much money he spends, don't get it. Because starting, you want to have some place to graduate to. We've cut out all the spaces for graduation. If I start evening, if I start dinner, I'm already, in most women prefer a man pick up the tab. So he's already out of 3 digits, 100 something plus, 200 something plus, 300 something plus of money energy units. And it's evening. So now you're already under the cover of night. So all you can do is have a longer night date. And then after a longer night date, here comes date 3, bam. And what's happening? Sex is entering the picture, because we have no room for any graduation, any progression, any increased investments of energy, because you started way in the deep end of the pool. Start on the 3-foot end of the swimming pool. Move to the 4-foot, move to the 5-foot. Then you cross that buoy line in the middle, and then you get on the deep end and go to the low dive first, then go to the high dive. We've gone straight to the high dive, first date. And we're in the deep end. Sex is entering by date 3. So I am in total disagreement about starting with these real pricey first dates, and that means the more he spends, the more he likes you. That has nothing to do with longevity. You will have a ton of first fabulous, amazing dates. You'll have a ton of fabulous dates, and guess what? That's all you're going to have with that man. So that creates serial dates of expensive dates, but it will not create a woman who's chosen. So it isn't about how much money or how much time. It's what is his experience of you? How does he feel when he's with you during that date? So whether it's 1 hour in the day, how is he feeling? Does he want to be back in your energy? Does he want to be back in your presence? Or you can be out $330 because you took you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Right, because the people said they don't want to go to the Applebee's, and they don't want to go to the other place, Cheesecake Factory. They don't want coffee.
Right. But that's ignorance talking. It's ignorance talking, Sandy, because I have women, and I don't just mean having more and more dates. The reason we date is to get acquainted. And the reason we date is it's a pathway to seeing if this is someone you want to choose and if you want to be chosen by. We're not just dating to spend money.
Ooh, that was good. Wait a minute. Go back to that. The purpose of the date is to decide if this is someone you choose.
It's to get
someone you want to be chosen by.
Right. That's why you're getting to know them, because there's a larger intention at play here. We're not just dating to date. Date is not the end in and of itself. It's the means. So you got to think about the means. And I have seen, in Love Academy, I have over 70 new Black love marriages. I'm not having 70 women that just have great, expensive first and second dates and move on to the next guy who's your funder for your date. And so what really works, if your intention is to eventually be chosen or to choose,
right,
then that doesn't work. It doesn't work for very, 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 very few if it does, versus Here's a model and a path and a process that's a win-win for both. Now, you may eventually get to the $250 dinner, but that needs to be further down the road because you still are in the early stages of getting to know him. If in fact that's the truth about what we want to accomplish. If we want to just have an expensive dinner paid for that on our own dollar we would never take ourselves to, then say that, and we can just say we're pimping men for expensive dinners and expensive dates.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right.
But I'm not talking about just pimping men for their money. Dates that we would not have the money to pay for ourselves because it's not in our. So if we're talking about a mutual win-win, a pathway to truly getting to know each other that has gradations and a slow progression, and you will get to those things down the road if you all continue to agree to want to see each other again. No problem. We'll get to an evening date after we've had our coffee, where the investment of energy units, that's what it's about. It's not about dollars determine quality of date. So we got to get at that. Want to understand the larger picture. So when you start with coffee, absolutely, it doesn't have to be coffee, it could be tea, it could be sitting on the park bench, it doesn't have to involve money, it could be a walk around the lake, or you know what I'm saying, walk the dogs. We both have dogs. So it doesn't have to be currency in terms of money currency. It can just be time currency. So all this emphasis on the first date and all this money the guy must spend to show that we're totally out of order, and we've flipped all the way into uber materialism. So it works. Start with tea, coffee, a smoothie, or no money currency at all. Time is real currency. Time is real currency. And if you enjoy each other's company in that hour, then you can agree to now come back and have breakfast, which is going to take maybe 90 minutes, not just an hour. And then you might decide to have lunch and a walk. Okay, now we're 2 hours and more. You see how we would leave for the units to be incrementally, keyword incrementally, not going off a cliff, incrementally, gradually increasing each successive time you get together. And it works. And it's a win. And there's no downside. Now, if we've had sex entering by day 3, we got to talk about this sexual energy, which I also do, because we have to learn how to mitigate and manage, not ignore, because what you do will take you over. But how can we? So that's another part of the conversation about
page 92 in the book. That's where she goes in, y'all. I need y'all to take a breath. Take a breath, because we're going to talk about what that looks like and why it's important. And we're also going to talk about something else that I wrote down because I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. We're going to talk about non-sexual bonding and why we need to be careful with that too. So y'all stay with me. Stay with me. It's all right. This is a grown woman conversation over here.
Right.
So stay with me. Now before we get to that though, Debrena, you also say that and you teach that a woman's worth must be rerouted before she enters the romantic space. Yeah. So what are some practical ways that women can re-anchor their worth before they even get to the romantic space?
Yes. Well, 2 things is the level, and as I teach it, there are levels to self-love. We speak of it as we have it or we don't. It's not absolute like that. There are levels to self-love. And for many women, that's a new concept. There's levels. Yes. In my cohort programs, I actually created a scale, and it's on a scale of 1 to 7. And for every level of that scale, when it comes to self-love, it has, here's the behaviors and here's the characteristics. And I ask women to locate themselves. And the women that are drawn to my teachings tend to be, the savvy, really sharp, culturally conscious, well-read, well-traveled, progressive woman. So these are cream of the crop women. And on that scale of 1 to 7, with 7 being, high level self-love, most of them come in at 3 and 4. The cream of the crop women. So the level of self-love that we're at in our singularhood is not sufficient, is inadequate when it comes to the level of self-love needed to be in a healthy, to co-create a healthy, juicy relationship.
Okay.
That means that our level of self-love, let's say it's at a 3, our level of self-love that we're at in our solo singular journey must be up leveled. Otherwise, you're going to start to see that relationship be a reflection of where the holes are in your soul, of where your insecurities are, where your lack of self-confidence or body confidence or body esteem is. It will all be amplified in the space of a love relationship, and especially marriage.
Right.
So one piece, you gotta upload self-love. 2 is, and part of that is when you are single, that's when to do your preparation work. And I'm amazed at how many single women want a juicy love relationship when they describe what they want, or they want a juicy covenant marriage. And then I say, well, what kind of preparation are you involved in so that that is something you can participate in co-creation? Like, so that includes healing work.
Yeah.
And the kind of healing work I teach, because there's a lot of subsets of true healing work, but forgiveness work is the healing work that I bring into my courses and in my love relationships work with and with women. So I work with both and jointly. And I always include forgiveness work. Why? Because forgiveness work is personal liberation work. And most of us, our hearts are not reopened and free enough to truly love another. We'll come from looking for validation. We'll come from, I want my needs met, meaning holes that I have, and I think you are the need filler. We'll have all of this devolved stuff going on, and it's not love. Codependency and all these things that are not love, ownership, possession, jealousy, stay with me out of my insecurity, stay together out of convenience, and all these other distortions of, and we won't have love. So you have to do your healing work, and we've never mentioned it as a prerequisite, and it really should be that, and also upgrading your communication skills. We get into love relationships with the same level of skill as if we were talking to other women. And a woman needs to become bilingual and also know how to speak what I call manese. And it amazes me how many marriages have communication collisions and friction and misunderstandings and conflicts, because that woman came in and that man came in with their same level of communication skill that they had as a single. And it's insufficient, just like our level of love. We got to upgrade. So you said, well, how can a woman begin to level up her level of self-love? One is doing her forgiveness work. Absolutely. And that's laid out in the Love Lies. Forgiveness work is liberation work. I have found that so many of us avoid doing forgiveness work because of false, funky teachings about forgiveness, somehow letting the other off the hook or being a pardon for the other. That's why there's so much resistance to it. That's inaccurate. That's a false misteaching. It's personal freedom that is the result, first and foremost. Emotional and spiritual freedom is the first direct result of forgiveness work. And so when you go in to a relationship not having done forgiveness work, it is like going into a relationship with all kinds of bruises that are under your clothes. And what will happen, because the other person can't see the bruises, it's covered by your clothing. But as soon as let's say I have one here on my shoulder, the man I'm dating, the fiance I might be saying yes to, the husband I may say yes to, they can't see the bruise. It's covered out of eyesight. But as soon as they bump it and I go, ow, I actually associate the discomfort with the bumper instead of recognizing the bruise preceded him
Mm-hmm.
bumping it. And so
Yeah.
then we are
Yeah.
saying he, and then
Yeah.
how many bruises, how many bumps, how many finger pointings. And really, when you do your forgiveness work, you deactivate your bruises, you heal your
Mm-hmm.
bruises. Someone bumps you and there's no ow, there's just
Mm-hmm.
no sensation of pain. So many of us are running around here with emotional bruises all over our bodies, all over
Mm-hmm.
our hearts, trying to have a juicy love relationship. And then when it doesn't work out, getting upset with the other, women with men and men with women.
Right. Because it does happen both ways. Right. Okay. Let's talk about
That makes sense?
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Let's go into the topic that we're all here to discuss, and that's the managing the sexual energy while you're dating. What are some tips you have for us?
Yeah.
So we position ourselves in a way that we have some self-control and we can manage what happens when you meet someone that you find attractive.
Yeah.
You like talking with them, you like being with them, and the sexual tension is there. It happens, y'all.
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen. It's a thing.
Right.
We just need to know how to manage it. Give us some tips.
Right. Well, first of all, we want to, and this is addressed in the modern courtship process, that when you are planning on, where, when, time, place for your dates, you want to stay out of each other's homes. That is the number one environment sexual intercourse is happening. Again, it's way too soon. And if we're going by scripture, God is so serious about sex and understands the power of it. Not only that you create a soul, but what happens to bodies and energies and soul ties when you join like that over and over again, and you don't have the container of sacred feminine. And we see, as we look around, the byproducts of being out of order. And it isn't just applied to women when a woman's saving herself. No, it is for the bodies of men and the bodies of women. So let's be clear about that.
Yes.
When you are planning your dates, choose all of the 8 million zillion options that do not include being in his home or being in your home.
Right.
Because those two places are where each person feels the most comfortable and relaxed. What you're going to do when you're watching a movie or sitting in the den or sitting in the living room, you're going to be on some comfortable seating.
Right.
Then you're going to become very aware of the sexual energy, especially if they're touching or kissing, because there's no one else around to absorb it or no environment to help mitigate it. 99% of the time, that is going to evolve into intercourse, penetration, and between willpower and passion power, willpower loses out every time.
Yeah.
And if willpower is present, it's more like, okay, stop, push back. Oh, we gotta. And so you have to pull yourself back from what the electromagnetic energy has brought together. So you don't want to ignore it.
Right.
Taken over by it, which is what happens in 99% of relationships by date 3. Got to be very careful, because you'll look up and sexual energy is the glue of the relationship and nothing else. And it's the soul bonder of the whole relationship.
Right.
So have dates that are not in either one's home. If he says, I'd love to have you over for dinner, why don't you come over? I'll cook you dinner. What woman doesn't love to hear that? Oh my God. Hold up. Is it only date 2? We've only had 60 minutes together and $23.99 on some smoothies and a
not $23.99.
$23.99. So then a woman, because she's the natural pace setter, and tone setter. A woman is the pace setter and the tone setter. So
we get that backwards too, but go ahead.
We sure do. So when he says, hey, I would love to cook you dinner. You should come over. Then you can redirect. Keyword, redirect. Keyword, redirect, and say at some point, that would be wonderful. So you're not saying, oh, hell no, but you are saying down the road, that's a possibility.
Right.
And next, instead, let's redirect. He wants to be in your company. He can be afraid of heights. And if you say, let's go skydiving, he'll say yes.
He's going to be a diving brother.
A diving brother, you know, afraid of heights and shaking all the way down. But to be in your energy and your company presence again, he'll bite the bullet and he'll do it. So I'll be tripping if you redirect from dinner. Like if he really likes you, man, men love a challenge and they love a conquest. It gives them adrenaline. So don't lower the bar, ladies. Hold the bar. Don't lower the bar. If he wants to be in your company again, he'll have no problem with a redirect. No problem.
And if he has a problem.
Right. I mean, because think about it. With Debrena's Modern Courtship, men love it. Women love it. There's no downside. None. And I've never had a man when a woman, when he says, hey, how about dinner? And she redirects and says, well, hey, let's start with coffee, or let's start with tea, or let's start with breakfast, or daytime, less money, energy units, less time currency. A man has never said, no, I want to spend more of my hard-earned money. I want to outlay $233 instead of $33. Men will never do that because they don't get a refund. If you're not a great date, they don't have a refund button in your forehead that they can push and get all their hard-earned money back out that you just ate and drank.
So what do you do though, Debrena? What do you do when you run into the guy that gets upset when you redirect from going to dinner at his house to doing something else? What do you do with that? I
haven't heard of a man getting upset about that, except one time. And given all of the students I've had in my love academies and my love lies detox and my preparation for partnership, all the marriages that have come out of women using this approach and abiding by, you know, what's in this book and detoxing themselves from the love lies and reorienting to the love truths. That's only one time. That's like 1% or something. So only one time did a gentleman think it was a denial of his wanting to spend money to say, instead of dinner, let's start with. They didn't say no dinner ever. They said, let's start with. And that was a big, and for that guy, him flexing his money was a big way he got points with women. So for him not to do the expensive dinner at whatever place was his go-to, the truth is he was feeling he was going to be disadvantaged and didn't know how to function with money off the table as such an emphasis on a place for a date the first time. That's the only time that I've heard a man have an issue with it.
So I asked that question for the women that are watching who haven't been through the Love Academy, haven't read your book, haven't gone through any of your courses. They just out here dating. And, you know, a guy says it's the first date. He says, oh, you should come over. I'll cook for you. And she said she redirects and suggests something else. I'm just wondering, you know, from your professional perspective, what do you do?
Yeah, so that's been such a rare occasion. One time out of all of these positive outcomes with that I don't want to give attention to this micro sampling against all the times it was successful. And I do in Love Academy practice with redirect language because women, we have, as part of our gender programming, we can have a hard time saying no or not going with what is presented or set forth. So there's a bigger conversation about learning how to bring our voices forward as well. Learn how to stifle and suppress and not say anything and go with the flow, meaning go with what their choice is, not what you may desire instead or an alternative. So when a man says, I'd love to fix you dinner, why don't you come over? That's usually after there's been a lot of energy exchanged via phone calls or texting. Those create energetic connections. I think it's so cute to have these long conversations with men. Oh, we were on the phone for 3 hours last night. And then another one, really? Oh my gosh, girl, that's so wonderful. Because with our girlfriends, if we talk a long time, that means we're close.
Right.
So, however, that is a mismanagement of energy. A 3-hour phone conversation, break that down into 5 40-minute conversations or something. He's not a boyfriend yet. He's not exclusively dating yet. So now you give him an amount of time on the phone that's out of order for where the relationship is. So we're out of calibration.
That's good.
Jacked up. So, but if you've been on the phone for 3 hours or every night for 30 minutes, well, then your energy is building up. The energetic connection is increasing. We're building up a credit of energy units now. We spoke 20 minutes, 5 times, 100 minutes. Okay. So then when he says, hey, I would love to fix you dinner, your energy has been activated. So a lot of yes, because we want to see him in person. So we don't redirect. We're so glad he finally offered to get together because we've been talking every night for the past month. So it's not that men usually have a problem with the redirect. We don't know how to redirect because we're excited. We're, can't wait to see him. And so it's a muscle to work, but it's also grounded in your confidence and your level of self-love. All these things come to bear. A lot of times, if I redirect it, then the offer will be off the table. He might not be together.
Right.
So all these things are in our minds that don't bear out. If he wants to be in your energy, then he will take, let's meet for coffee versus go prepare food and buy food and it's less energy for him. It's less energy for both of you. You will have time for those to increase over time if you continue to want to be back in each other's company again and again and again. There's no rush. We act like there is some rush. What is the rush?
Right.
We're moving at 75, 85, 95 miles an hour in the dating space, and it's jacked us up because there's been no foundation of really getting to know the other. So Debrena's Modern Courtship says, let's go 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
You're still there. You're still going to get there. And let it truly be about getting to know him. And that means even your questions are different. I work with women on getting away from these biographical and resume questions. Oh, where did you grow up? Oh, where do you go to church? Oh, where he could just fill it out on a sheet and slide it across the table because it's filling the darn blank. It's not getting to know his essence, his character, his life outlook, none of that. And so even our questions are based upon the internal scorecarding that we're doing, where we're judging and assessing, could he be, here's another love lie, the one, because there's only one, lie, falsehood. So it's this crazy web of falsehoods supporting and perpetuating more falsehoods. And so it takes some practice, I promise you. And there have been boss chick type, Sandy, who quietly thought, Debrena's not going to be, I know what she said about don't have a date in each other's house, but I have my own house. I can do what I want in my own house. Quiet subtext of inner thought.
You can.
And then what do?
Right.
Debrena, I had him over for the Seahawks game. This really happened. I had him over all the sports bars. And you had your space, third date for the Seahawks game. Well, guess what? We're on the couch watching the game. Guess what? We're eating food. Guess what? We're snuggled up under the darn comforter or the Afghan. Then the game goes off. There is nothing in the environment that can help mitigate. And it's just the passion of you two up against someone's willpower, which is going to lose. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian girl or anybody else. And so we overestimate our willpower. Oh, if anything happens, I'm just going to, that's naive. Set yourself up to win. Don't even
be
set
up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you're still struggling with alcohol. Don't, go in the liquor store. I can handle it. You're not, no, you can't. Don't be naive. Go into the soda pop store. Don't go into the liquor store. because you haven't built up your self-control enough to resist that.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us succumb to the passion, especially if we haven't been touched in a while. So many women are touch deprived, and that has them desperate for sexual contact because there's an absence of any male energy in their lives. There's an absence of healthy male contact and touch in their life. And then we're craving it. We're hungry for it. We're like a thirsty plant. And then second date, we go over for the dinner. And then next thing you know, you're only a booty call. And you stay a booty call. No publicness, no planning of dates. Just, hey, you want to come on through? Come on through. Want to come on through? We'll Netflix and chill. Hey, yeah, come on through.
Yeah.
That gets old after, date 9 and 10. And then we're going to have a date. We're going to go out. Well, why? It's cool. Hey, what's the problem? Hey,
Yeah. You're right. And by the way, the more effective questions to ask a man on a date that Debrena spoke about, they're in the book.
Ask questions.
Yes.
Not for people to be like, let me ask what Debrena said to ask.
Yeah. But read the book. Just read the book. That's all I'm going to say. Read the book. All right. So the number one tip you gave us to manage and mitigate sexual energy while dating is do not date at each other's homes. First date, second date, third date. How many dates?
Once you become one of two statuses, once you have mutually decided we're going to exclusively only date each other, you may decide that threshold of entering the sacred space called home might be able to occur. Or if you all are boyfriend, girlfriend and beyond, but just dating.
Right.
See, we've lost out on understanding also how to manage what I call APBs, access, privilege, and benefits. So to come to your home, your sacred space, where you dwell, where you live, the haven you call mine, there's no other place on the planet that has your address. This is my dwelling place. So before a person gets to enter into your sacred dwelling space, you're at your most raw, your most natural and unpublic version of yourself. He has to have achieved a certain space in your life before he even gets access across the threshold, and vice versa. Right. And so to have a guy over at your home should be something that only occurs possibly once you've mutually agreed to, if you get there, be dating each other exclusively. Or you might even say if we get to boyfriend, girlfriend, once he's boyfriend. And I promise you, if a man says, oh, when are you going to have me over? And a woman can very charmingly say, oh, only a boyfriend would get to actually come hang out at my home. Okay. Got the data now. You're not boyfriend. That's a privilege of my man. Right. My man. And I'm not saying you're not my man. I'm not getting funky. I'm just saying, right. Oh, the boyfriend would get to hang out in my house with me. We just created some delineations. Right. So also what's happening, and that's a whole nother conversation, is we've lost delineations in dating, and the who sets it is the woman. So if he's already hanging out at your house and you're still just dating, he may be dating multiple, you may be dating multiple. Then if he already gets access to your house, then he's gonna next want access to your bed.
So are we taking the process of dating and the state of being in a relationship and conflating the two?
Are women like that?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. How many times? I mean, there was just a movie I was watching called, what is it called? So High or Go High or High There, something like that. 2-word movie about this guy takes this girl away to an Airbnb for the weekend in the mountains, and they have cozy time reading books and swinging in hammocks, and then they're playing around with some, bondage stuff they find in the closet, and she, handcuffs him to the bed. And then she goes, our relationship, and I love having you as my boyfriend. He's like, wait, what? She left him tied up, and then she started to melt down and freak out because she's like, wait, what? Why would you bring me out here and be da-da-da, and all the gooey eyes and all the swinging in the hammock? And I'm still operating from two totally different understandings that they never agreed to.
Right.
That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I will say to women, oh, so are you all exclusive now? Oh, yeah, we're exclusive. Oh, you had an explicit conversation about agreeing to both be exclusive? Well, no, but we spend so much time. I don't see how he has time to see.
Not the same. That's not the same.
Yeah. Or is that your boyfriend? Oh, yeah, that's my man. Well, would he identify you as his woman if you were at, let's say, a Christmas party introducing you?
Would you even be at the party?
Would you even be there?
Right.
Not an assumption based upon your feelings or amount of time. It is about an explicit conversation where you're in agreement about the language we use to describe what we have. And it amazes me how much assumption there is and never a clear, explicit conversation. And that gets so many women butthurt, or they find out after they've been seeing a guy for 4 months, sharing their body after date 2. So now they're feeling bonded. The oxytocin hormone is going. She's been staying at his house. He's been staying at her house. Every time they get together, they're having sex. Finds out that there's some other women he's seeing, and guess what she says? He's been cheating on me. No, he hasn't. Classic for he's a cheater. No, you never had an explicit agreement of exclusively dating each other. You assumed, but then when you find out, you feel betrayed. You haven't been betrayed. You were operating on your own assumptions and did not bring your voice forward. Have a conversation to find out, where is he with this thing you all have, and where are you with this thing you all have, and are you all using the same word to describe what you all have, and are you in agreement on the behavior that goes what you describe? That's not happening.
Do you find that the reason why that conversation, that explicit, crystal clear conversation is not happening is because women don't actually really want to know if they're the one? It's easier to assume I'm the one than to actually let him tell me that, or ask, or just have a conversation about that.
Right.
Why do you think those conversations don't happen?
They're afraid of what the answer might be.
Yeah.
And they're not quite sure of how much he likes her. They may like him more, which they've got more emotional investment in it. So instead of finding out and knowing for sure, let me keep in my fantasy world so we can keep doing this thing. And so it's based upon avoidance. But if a woman gets her worth, and when a man is into a woman, he'll move heaven and earth to be in her company. He'll move heaven and earth. I remember when I was dating my husband, and we had gone out for Chinese food, and we were now exclusive. And he was going to come over. We decided at dinner he was going to come over and hang out, and stay over. But he didn't have, his overnight bag or whatever. So he goes home to get his overnight bag, and I guess he got food poisoning from the. So he comes back to my door. Now this was summer. He comes back to my door in a ski jacket with a skull cap on, a scarf around his neck. And his overnight bag. And I'm like, sir, I don't feel so well. I think I got food poisoning. And I'm thinking he was going to come back. He just, bundled up and came on over, I was like, this man is into me. Bless his heart.
You will know. In other words, you will know.
Yes. Absolutely. So any rate, this time goes so fast.
I know. I want to talk just really quickly.
Okay.
Touch on the sexual bonding that's not actually sex. Why is that emotionally, spiritually, and relationally something we need to be careful of? And why does that get overlooked in the conversation about intimacy?
So I'm going to have you break down what you mean. grown woman conversation. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me exactly what you mean. So one, I'm operating on the same page. And so your viewers are clear about what you mean.
So you mentioned that in the scenario you used, you're at the house, you're watching the game. Next thing you know, you're under the comforter together. Next thing you know, you're cuddling, you're spooning, you're doing all the things, but nothing sexual has happened yet. Why do we need to be careful with that?
Because touch is currency.
Mm-hmm.
And, having $10 is different than having $1,000. So touch is currency. And if someone gives you a gift that's $10, you can feel certain, let's say $20, you can feel a certain way. Someone gives you a gift that's $2,000. You can feel a little weird about it if it's only like your second date.
Right. Okay.
Not a foundation in place for that many money energy units for a gift. That's more like a gift for a wife on the 10th anniversary. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
order. Energy doesn't lie. So we need to pace our touch and interaction and body contact the same way we need to pace, because it's an energy unit as well. So you might not even know their middle name, but their tongue is down your throat. You may not know even what their birth date is, but they got their hand down your pants. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so we're out of order with access to our bodies, with inadequate foundation of just knowing the person. And there's a reason we have this word intimacy.
Right.
It describes that closeness that can be accomplished between bodies, and it doesn't have to be entry of each other's bodies.
Right. Right. That's the emphasis I really wanted you to touch on. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you're not going to be under a comforter at the restaurant.
Hopefully not.
Right. I've never seen it. That's something you'd only do in the privacy of your home.
Right.
You wouldn't even necessarily do it if you were at someone else's house watching a football game with another couple, right? That's something under the comforter on their couch together. That might be something you might do at your home where you have even more comfortability. So we want to use environments to help us manage the contact, manage the energy units. It works beautifully. Right. And if you stay out of each other's homes, that is the number one way to help us manage it and not have it take over, because it feels good. It will take over. It's a willpower fight to resist something that feels good to both parties. So that battle, hands on the chest. Ooh, okay, what do we do? Ooh, cold water, cold shower. Let's set ourselves up to not have that battle. Let's the environment to help manage that. Stay in public spaces. Stay out in the pub. There's so many cozy little spots you can go to in a hotel lobby and at a bar. Or stay in public spaces and let it help you manage the degree of interaction in terms of touch and physical closeness. And it's a win for everybody. Men have a lot of self-control. We speak like they don't, but when you watch on the pro athletic field, on the pro court, in military, they're highly, highly disciplined. It's often us that are not the disciplined ones. And put it on men. So men have a lot of discipline. If they've met a woman they dig and they love your energy, they love your presence, they love your fascination and curiosity that you bring to the interactions. And to them, you have a look that appeals to them, and all those things, he will be patient. And does that mean he doesn't want that penetration?
That's not what that means.
That's right. But he will be patient, and he will exhibit self-control.
All right.
We don't think he will, so we let me go give this up because
Yeah. Again, oh my gosh, we got to do a part 2.
Okay.
We got to do a part 2 because
of course
this. Okay, I got to watch the replay so I can just go back and really absorb everything you said. This was such a rich conversation. Thank you so much, Debrena. I'm telling you, there's nobody else I would have wanted to have this conversation with.
Oh.
Because you don't sugarcoat what needs to be said. We need to know we have the power to manage these emotions. We can manage our emotions.
Yes.
It's possible. We don't have to go off the cliff.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a way to do it. And I firmly believe the first step is to get this book, The Love Lies. Let me make sure you can see what it's called. It is available on Amazon. The Love Lives, 10 Revelations That Will Transform Your Relationships and Enrich Your Love Life by Debrena Jackson-Gandy. You also have some other stuff coming up too, right?
Yes. Well, they can also, I also will mention, if they just want to copy the book, they can go to Amazon. If they want it personalized and signed, they can go to my website. Or actually on the website, it's going to send you to Amazon. So never mind. So yes, can get it through the website and it'll take you to the Amazon portal. And then my signature and favorite cohort program is coming up. We kick off the 3rd week of January. It's called Holistic Success. And it's all about how to live and be a sacred, self-caring, juicy woman in all areas of your life. Instead of the hollow success model that we've been given by the Western American culture, the ripping and the running, the overwhelm, the overdoing, I introduced a new framework for success called Holistic Success that honors, in essence, honors the feminine spirit, and it gives you an experience of deeper joy, peace, ease, and flow. So
yes,
if your viewers would like to get on the wait list for that, we're going to start registration in a few days, and it only is for one time all year, because it's a 12-month cohort program. We move through it in a community of other like-minded women. So they can go to milliondollarmentor.net, scroll down to the wait list for Holistic Success, get their name added right away, because the marketing is going to start for it, and we only have so many slots available, and registration is only open one time for the whole year, and this is the window. So Holistic Success would love to have your viewers join us.
And all of the work that Debrena has done and continues to do is highlighted on her website, milliondollarmentor.net. You can go there to get all of the Debrena Jackson-Gandy information that you could possibly need. Start there, but then go to Amazon and get The Love Lies, because you need this book. If you are a grown woman dating, you need this book. I'm telling you. This book is going to remind you.
Yes.
It's going to remind you that you have choices. You can govern yourself accordingly when it comes to sexual energy, when it comes to the decisions that you make about intimacy, when it comes to the decisions that you make about who you date. You get to govern all of that. You don't have to leave that to chance, and you don't have to leave it to him. It's all in your hands. It's in your lap. So you need to take care of it.
Yes.
Amen and amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you again for being here tonight, Debrena. Thank you so much. I can't wait to bring you back. We will do a part 2. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I love you. Always keep your word. You said that the first time I was on, and I'm back again. And I'm always going to come back again, because I love these conversations. I love your candor, your direct shooting. It's so needed. It's so needed. So thank you.
Thank you, my sister. Love you. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining me tonight for Fridays by the Fire. I know this was a lot. I know, but listen, out here on these dating streets, it's real. You need to know what you're doing. You can't just be out here flying by the seat of your pants. You need to know that when it comes to your person, your body, your choices, you have sovereignty. You get to say, you have some say in what goes on. You get to govern that part of your life. So there's no reason to be out here dating like you have no control. You do. You just have to know how to manage. We have to know how to manage our emotions to make sure that we set ourselves up to have a successful interaction with the man that we may be interested in. Management is the key. Mitigating is the key. And this book, The Love Lies, will teach you how to do that. So thank you again for being here tonight for Fridays by the Fire. I sure do appreciate y'all. And I will be back next week with a brand new episode of Fridays by the Fire. Y'all take care. God bless. Good night.